All right. Just a second. I touched the wrong window, and I'll go back to it. Okay, do you see my window? Great. Yes. I suppose that this is the best way to do it. You can put my window in the main screen if people want to be able to read a little bit better. My face, my bald head, and my beard are not so important. So whatever, you'll see what the text is about, and you'll listen. I'll make a very super short summary of what we're going to learn today. Basically, we will see a few sources from inside, so to speak, and we will see a few opinions, actually two, on how to understand these sources, how to read, so to speak, and understand these sources. And then we will see what the Jewish holidays actually represent, very shortly and very simple, so to speak, and what can Bnei Noach actually get out of these Jewish holidays. But this actually does not apply only to Jewish holidays. Even though the subject is Jewish holidays, okay, that's fine. However, we will learn about any observance of any commandment, mitzvah of Yiddishkeit, of Judaism. Can a non-Jew do it or not? That's what we're actually going to learn. Again, focused on the holidays, but not restricted only to holidays. And at the end, we will see conclusion. I'm nobody, and I say it in truth, I'm nobody to decide to put my head, that's the expression actually in the writings of our sages, I'm nobody to put my head between two huge mountains, or actually it's more than two, but whatever, and I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to tell you, look, this mountain says this mountain says that, and you do whatever you can, whatever you're able, whatever your rabbi tells you to do, and maybe just as a not part of the class, but maybe important to know, the Mishnah, our sages say in Pirkei Avos, the ethics of our fathers, and they say it twice actually, do for yourself a teacher. You have to have a teacher, and that teacher has to know what he's talking about. What I mean is, you have to, when you get an indication, you ask your teacher something, and he answers you have to be able to see where he got it from. Not necessarily learn the whole book, and okay, that's why he's a teacher and you're a student. That's fine, no problem. But at least tell me where you got it from. And if you say something really weird, okay, I got it, teacher, thank you. Where can I see more information about this? Where do you got it from? It's important. And in these particular subjects that we're going to learn, it doesn't sound so nice, but whatever, it's more than important, it's super important. Why? Because our texts, our sources, that every single rabbi that appreciates his name and his rabbinical whatever should know these sources. Every rabbi that works on this subject of Bnei Noach, because you can ask other people and they'll say, no, I don't work with Bnei Noach, I don't know, and that's fine, it's okay, just as a doctor. You go to a doctor for bones and he says, look, I don't understand anything about the ears or the eyes. I don't know, go ask somebody else, and that's fine, no problem. I know about bones, and I'm going to answer everything about bones, but not about eyes, etc. So the same thing happens with the rabbis. Some rabbi might know more or less of a certain subject, and that's okay, no problem with that. But if you're actually working on this issue, Bnei Noach, there are certain sources you should know. And if you don't go by these sources, you should explain why. You should know why, actually. And if you can't explain why, I don't think you're actually a good source. So let's go. No more introductions. Let's go for it. Oops, sorry, over here. Okay. First of all, a very brief understanding of what's Halakha, law, Jewish law. Jewish law, it's what actually manages and governs every single aspect of the Jewish life. If a person asks a rabbi for a certain law on anything, can I eat this, can I do that, can I steal, can I kill somebody, my neighbor is driving me crazy, can I kill him? So the rabbi has to say yes or no, according to the law, not according to whatever he thinks. I think he's a good guy. Why should I kill him? I don't care if he's a good guy for you or not. I want to kill him. Can I do it or not? Okay, so a real rabbi is going to answer no. Why not? Okay, I can show you the sources where it says, God says not to kill. Okay, that's an answer. If afterwards you go and kill him, that's your problem. You ask the rabbi said no. Okay, like it or not, that's what the rabbi answered. The Jewish law is the will of God expressed by different rabbis. And it's a huge body of writings, texts, lots and lots of texts that generation after generation they go, rabbi after rabbi, understanding, interpreting these texts. What is it talking about? What is it? How does it apply to other cases, etc., etc.? That's Jewish law. And as I said before, the second line, anything that a rabbi says has to be based on Jewish law. It's okay to say, I'll look for the source for you, for tomorrow, for next week, whatever, that's fine. You don't have to know every single book and every single page and every single, okay, some people do, but whatever, those are special rabbis. But you have to have a source. You have to have a source. It's very important. Now, it's super important to understand that Jewish law is not drush, homiletics. Homiletics means, let's take a story and let's learn something from the story. Wow, very nice. That could be nice, but not necessarily it's a law. There's a huge difference between one thing and the other thing. And there's a clear, that's why I actually wrote throughout the whole presentation, sources. I'm not expecting you to go and find the sources and read the sources, no. But if anybody has a question, there is a source. That's why I insist so much on this. The sources are there. This is not my idea, so to speak. So again, our sages say you cannot learn laws out of a story, out of drushim. You can support law out of a story. That's fine, because we see a rabbi doing a certain thing. We're discussing whether the law is like that or not. Oh, you see, the law should be like that because the rabbi actually is doing this. Okay, this is very important to understand that Jewish law is the main thing that we need right now. What does it mean right now? You can talk to me about mysticism, Kabbalah, Hasidus, whatever. Everything is fine. And the soul, and the 10 powers of the soul, and they come back. I don't care. What's the law? That's what we're actually discussing right now. Not spiritual ideas, etc. That we're also going to touch upon this a little bit. But we're discussing law. And law about what? Canaan and Jew celebrate Jewish holidays. That's what we're asking. That's, so to speak, you're asking the rabbi that. Okay, let's see some sources to understand whether the answer is yes or no, which is not going to be yes or no. We're going to see different ideas. Source number one, main one, this is a small drawing that everybody says it's the Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. He lived in Spain, year 1100s. The Rambam writes like this. This is copied, my translation, but it's copied directly from the text of the Rambam. He says like this, when he's discussing other issues, okay.
Rabbi, I muted you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. When he's discussing other issues, he says like this, look, the general rule is like this. We means like the based in the Jewish court of law, whatever. We do not allow them to create a religion. I underline the words, not the Rambam, and make commandments for themselves. What does that mean? If I say that, for instance, lifting this pencil 3 times a day, it's a new commandment. God said that for Bnei Noach to be good people, they have to lift up pencils. It has to be a black pencil. The pencils 3 times a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon and once in the night. Where do you got that from? I don't know. It's nice. I love pencils and black pencils and left them. No. You can do whatever you want with your life. That's okay. But don't call that Judaism. And don't call that the message of Judaism for non-Jews or for Jews or for anybody. No, that's your thing. Be happy with that. But don't call that Judaism. No, we don't allow that. That's not going to be called Judaism. Rather, either convert to Judaism and accept all commandments, or keep yourself in your Torah, says the Rambam. The 7 commandments, I added that. And don't add and don't take away. So what is the Rambam saying? Clearly, don't make up religions, please. No. We have a clear-cut religion, 613 commandments for Jews, 7 commandments for non-Jews. That's it. That's Judaism. You like it, fine. You don't like it, bye-bye. The Rambam says in the next law, a Bnei Noach that wants to fulfill a commandment of the rest of the commandments to receive reward, we don't prevent him from doing it according to Halakha, law. This is clearly, directly the text of the Rambam. So in the first law, you see it's number 9 in the same chapter, chapter 10, number 9 and number 10. In the first law, I did not write the whole law. The Rambam says clearly, Bnei Noach should not fulfill Shabbat, and not learn Torah. We're actually learning Torah, so don't worry, it's okay, it's fine. We can actually discuss why it's okay, but we're learning about the commandments of Bnei Noach. The Talmud says it's okay, so it's fine. We're learning that. But it says, don't make up religions, don't learn Torah, don't keep Shabbos. And in the next law, he says, if he wants to fulfill one commandment, so okay, do it properly. Don't do whatever you want. Do it properly. But don't make up commandments, and you want one of the 613, do it properly. Okay, this is the Rambam. How do you understand the Rambam? Let's see a second group of sources. The Radbaz. The Radbaz, David ben Zimra, he lived in Egypt, 1500s. He was the teacher of the Arizal, actually. If anybody heard about the Arizal, it was a great authority, so to speak. This is the teacher of the Arizal. Now, the Radbaz says like this. A Bnei Noach wants to fulfill a commandment, etc. He quotes the Rambam because it's a commentary on the Rambam. And if he wants to fulfill it saying that he was commanded to do so, we don't allow him to do that. No. What does that mean? Suppose I'm not a Jew. Okay, I'm not Jewish. I want to eat matzah in Pesach. Pesach is the Passover, freedom, whatever. Okay, I want to eat matzah, not leavened bread. Okay, can I do that or not? Because God gave a commandment to eat matzah. It's a verse in the Torah. Ba'erev toiklu matzah said the night of Pesach you should eat matzah, whatever you want, a piece of bread. You should eat that. I want to do that because God said so. So the Radbaz is going to tell you, no, you're wrong. What you're doing is wrong. God did never tell you to eat matzah in the night of Pesach because you're not Jewish. He said that to Jews, not to you. Continues, except if he does it as someone that was not commanded to do so and does it. And our master, which means the Rambam because it's commenting on the Rambam, was precise and wrote in order to receive reward. What is the Radbaz saying? The Radbaz is saying something very simple. Look, if you say, a non-Jew says you're commanded to do a certain mitzvah that you're not commanded to, you're wrong. You got it wrong. But if you say, I'm not commanded, but I want. And furthermore, why do you want? Because I want to receive reward. Not because it's an interesting thing. Like eating bread, it's like eating bread. What's the benefit out of it? Nothing, no benefit. But this is something God told the Jews, and I like it, and I want to do it. I understand that I was not commanded to do so. That's fine. But I want to do it anyway, because I want to receive reward by God, the God of Israel, blah, blah, blah. The Radbaz says, okay, that's fine. Go and do it. No problem. He continues, I separate in 2 paragraphs. However, the commandments that require mitzvahs, that require sanctity and purity, like tefillin, sefer Torah, mezuzah, no, says the Radbaz. Those, I don't like it. No. So it's not really contradicting the Rambam. It's just restricting the Rambam into certain things, and certain things, no. Why? The Radbaz doesn't say. No. And I'm not going to explain either. Doesn't make any sense right now. It has to do with spiritual things, with the soul. And, okay, nice. But the Radbaz says, these things? No. So if a non-Jew comes up and says, I would like to put a mezuzah in my door, which is a parchment that you put in the door, etc., and you ask the Rambam, we don't really know what the Rambam would say, but the Radbaz says clearly, no. Don't do that. Not proper. Okay, Meiri, next commentary on the Talmud, actually, Spain, 1300s. The rest of the commandments, any other commandments of the 613, that doesn't include the 7 commandments, we don't prevent from him, her, it's the same thing. Throughout the whole class, men and women, it's the same. Because we accept his offerings and tzedakah. That's actually written by the Rambam himself. and he has reward for his actions. Look what it says clearly. He's rewarded. So the Rambam said he wants to fulfill something that is not commanded to receive reward. We don't know which kind of reward, but such a thing exists. Okay, the Rambam says fine. Radbaz says fine, except for these three things. I don't like it. Feeling, Torah, mezuzah, no, I don't like this. And the Meiri says basically the same thing. He wants to receive reward, go and do it, and you will receive reward by God. Next source, Talmud Kiddushin. There's a story. I already said we don't learn from stories, but it's an interesting story. Let's look at it. There's a story of Dama ben Netina. In short, he was not a Jew. It's very clear in the Talmud. He was not Jewish, and he sold precious stones. And it came a time that the clothes of the Kohen Gadol, high priest, they lost one of the stones of the Choshen Mishpat. It's something that we used to wear over here. So they lost a stone, and they heard that this guy, Dama ben Netina, who sold precious stones, has one of those stones. So they went to him, and they asked him to show him the stone. Yeah, do you have this stone? Yes, I have the stone. Show me the stone. I can't right now. So the sages thought he wanted money, more money. I don't remember the numbers, okay? But let's say, whatever, the stone is $1,000. So he didn't want to show it, and the sages said, okay, I pay you $2,000. No. I pay you $5,000. No. $10,000. No. $100,000. No. I'm not going to show it to you. Come back later. So the sages left Dama ben Netina, and they came back later, and they brought $100,000, so to speak, to pay. And Dama ben Netina said, no. Here's the stone. Do you want it? Yes, we want it. It's $1,000. What do you mean? We offered $100,000. So Dama ben Netina answered, no, you don't understand. I had the stone. I was ready to sell it for you for $1,000. That's okay. It's a good price. That's the price of the stone. However, my father was sleeping, and under his pillow was the key to the box where the stones are stored. And I did not want it to wake up my father. That's why I didn't sell it to you. But the price is okay. I'm not going to take the higher price just because of that. We learn from this story that Dama ben Netina, as well as any other non-Jews, one of the ideas of this story is that you have to actually honor your parents and don't wake them up when you're not supposed to. Okay. And interestingly, the Talmud says that Dama ben Netina was rewarded for this, for actually honoring his father. And next year he had a lot of money with a red cow. I'm not going to go into the whole details. You can look in the source. It's in English, whatever. Find it and you will see what the reward was. It is actually, I put it in small words, it is actually an argument whether the reward is in the world to come, like a spiritual thing, or just in this world. Because from this story of Dama ben Netina, we see that he was rewarded in this world with a lot of richness, etc., etc. But the point is, there is a reward. The Talmud says this. Okay, next source. Another page of the Talmud. When a non-Jew that studies the 7 commandments is like a high priest. This is what the Talmud says. From here, what do we learn? What is a high priest? That suddenly you become a high priest? I don't think so. Like me, Tuvia, I'm not a high priest, and I'm not even a priest, a Kohen. There's nothing I can do to become a Kohen. Nothing. And I'm a Jew, but forget it. My father was not a Kohen. He is not a Kohen. I'm not a Kohen. That's it. I'm not a priest. And it's okay with me. I don't care. Now, what does it mean that a person learning, a non-Jew learning Torah, he is like a high priest? What are you going to tell me? Is something physical, like money, like health? No. It's a spiritual thing. And he has a reward as a spiritual thing for learning what he's supposed to learn, like what we're doing right now. We're learning about the 7 commandments. So each one of you learning right now, hello, you have a reward like a high priest. Do I have that? No. I'm not a high priest. I'm sorry. You have that. I don't have that. So we see in this, from the Radbaz, the Meiri, the Talmud itself, we see that there is such a thing as a non-Jew fulfilling one of the Jewish commandments, and there is such a thing as a reward. Again, we can discuss whether in this world, next world, okay, we can argue that. No problem. However, for sure, there is something as a reward. This is first group of, the Rambam is the first source, and the second sources are understanding the Rambam. Let's go to the third one, the Moshe Feinstein. Here's a picture of him. Now, I put the places where the Moshe actually says these ideas. It's not just one place, it's many different responses. And in order for you to understand, this rabbi was not just another rabbi. There are many, many rabbis. This is not one more rabbi. No. We're talking about one of the most important halakhic law authorities of our times. He passed away in 1986. So we're not talking like, so long ago. No. Contemporary, our times. And he has many, many responses on many, many subjects. It doesn't mean that everybody agrees to him. No, but he's an authority. You can't say, I don't care what he says. No. Wait a second. Maybe you shouldn't care what I say. And what he says, you should care. Okay, we're talking about an authority, okay? The Moshe Feinstein says clearly, there is no reward, no, at all, for a Bnei Noach for the fulfillment of commandments of the Torah. You do your stuff, your 7 commandments, and I would add the ramifications of the 7 commandments, and we'll see in a second, in 2 minutes, we'll talk about this. But the point is, there's no reward at all. Forget it. But, second line, there is reward for prayer. This is what we actually spoke before. Also, there is reward for prayer because God listens to all the human beings. So you keep praying. That's fine. The Moshe Feinstein also agrees to this. Now, one detail, a Bnei Noach can do other commandments from the Jewish commandments as long as they make sense. What does that mean to make sense? Like to have a good society, a good civilization, help other people, tzedakah, honor your parents, etc. That's how he explains the Talmud. I'm going back just a second. You see Kiddushin over there in the third paragraph, story of Dama ben Netina. That's how he explains it. He got richness, money, like physical things. Don't talk to me about spiritual, no. Money in this world, that's what he got because he honored his parents. So we see that a non-Jew should honor the parents and you're going to be fine. You're going to be rich, whatever the case is. Now, this is the way Rabbi Moshe explains. If the commandments make sense, okay, that's fine. You can do it. Fulfillment of Jewish commandments is making up a new religion. Furthermore, any religious act is making up a new religion. What does that mean, a religious act? According to how Rabbi Moshe Feinstein understands, anything you do because you find or you make up or you think, whatever, let's look for the better word, I don't know, I'll leave it for other times, that this has a spiritual effect in the world. What does that mean? It means that God is happy with what you did and he pays, quote unquote, in spiritual ways according to what you did. Rabbi Moshe says, forget it. No, there's no such a thing for non-Jews. There's no such a thing. And if you fulfill one of the 630 commandments of the group, so to speak, that do not make sense, but you want to do it anyway, you're wrong. You're making up a religion. Because the Jewish religion has a message for Jews, for non-Jews, and the message is pretty clear. This is what you should do, you should not do, etc., for Jews and non-Jews. And a non-Jew taking from the group of Jewish things is changing the religion. You're doing something new. Forget it. And the Rambam says you should not do that. Out. Now, you're going to tell me, last line, I'm going back on purpose. Wait a second, I have the Radbaz, I have the Meiri. What do you do with that? Like, this guy said you could do other mitzvahs. The Radbaz says this, and he was an authority, etc., etc. So the Rabbi Moshe Feinstein answers pretty simple. The manuscript of the Radbaz, and there's another place where the Rambam himself brings the expression 7 commandments and their ramifications. So there are other things. The Rambam says this clearly in a manuscript. And the Meiri also is a manuscript. They were found later. Later means in latest times. Like the previous sages did not have these manuscripts, therefore are not really reliable. No. I'm not going to base my halachic ruling on this kind of sources. This is how Rabbi Moshe says, forget it. I'm not touching those sources. I'm not reading those sources. I don't care about them. Radbaz says, where did he say that? In the manuscript? No, I don't care about the manuscript. This is how Rabbi Moshe understands. So if a person wants to follow the message or the way, the focus, whatever, that Rabbi Moshe has for Bnei Noach, you have it in your screen. This is what you should be doing. 7 commandments, let's say some ramifications, like be a good person, it's not a commandment, but you should do that. Okay, so this is what you should be doing. And those commandments that make sense, go and do them, and the rest, forget it. You're actually making a new religion. Okay, let's see next source. I put a picture of the Rebbe over here because I'm a chassid of my Rebbe, but that doesn't mean that the Rebbe is the only one that actually holds like this. And that's why I put over there the sources. You can see this clearly in those sources. Now, the Rebbe brings, other sources brings very interesting ideas. First of all, there's an expression. In Hebrew is Chasidei Umois Ha'olam, the pious people of the nations of the world. It's a classic expression that the Rambam brings, actually. I don't know if it's the first one. I don't think it's the first one. It's in Midrash also. Okay, our sages bring this idea, this expression. And our sages say, and the Rambam says it clearly, they have a portion, piece, whatever, of the world to come. That's a spiritual thing. Everybody agrees to this. Nobody can argue. The Moshe will tell you that's only for the 7 commandments. But the idea is, wait a second, what's a pious? What's a chosid? A chosid is, and this is also a clear definition of what a chosid means, in halachic ways, it's a person that goes beyond the letter of the law. I told you not to steal, not to kill, not etc., as you probably already know, the 7 commandments, but I want to do more. Oh, that's called a chosid. And again, our sages say a chosid has a piece in the world to come. A chosid among the nations of the world has a part in the world to come, has a portion in the world to come. And other sources, including the Rebbe, clearly say that there is reward for the fulfillment of the 7 commandments. In this world, for sure, we learned it from Dama and Netina, nobody argues that. The Talmud says he got richness out of honoring his parents, his father, whatever. And the Zohar says that there is a thing called a world to come for non-Jews that is different from the world to come for Jews. Don't ask me the difference because I don't know. This is what the Zohar says, and then over there you have the source. So there is certainly a spiritual reward for doing commandments. Now, there's a catch over here. I did not write it in the presentation, but I think it's important to have it in mind. I mentioned before, in the words of the Radbaz, if you see in the first paragraph over here, it says, if he does it as someone that was not commanded to do so and does it. What does that mean? A commandment from God means a connection to God. Like, I'm God, whatever. I'm telling you to do this. I'm establishing a connection, a link to you through this particular action. That happens, that link, as we're going to learn in a few minutes, that link actually happens when God commands. But we cannot make that link happen by ourselves. Why not? Because we're finite and God is infinite. He's the one putting the rules, not we. So if he establishes the link from up, down, so to speak, okay, it works. From down up, we cannot establish the link. There are certain things that God said, it's okay for non-Jews, like prayer, like the 7 commandments, okay, and the ramifications, okay, that's fine. He established that link. But we cannot add to that link. We cannot do anything more than that link. However, if you understand that you were not commanded, this is what the Radbaz is saying, you were not commanded, and you do it anyway, there is some connection. To which degree, I don't know. Don't think I know and I don't want to tell you. I don't know. But there is such a thing. This is what the Radbaz is saying. There is such a reward. And it's in many places in the Talmud, the idea of somebody not commanded, but does it anyway, there is reward. It's not the same reward as somebody commanded doing it. It's not the same reward. It's a lower level of reward. but there is reward, certainly. This is the ideas that come out of other opinions, not Reb Moshe Feinstein's opinion, other opinions including the Rebbe. Now, according to all of this, we can maybe start understanding a little bit better what about the Jewish commandments. So I'll do this briefly because we're going to see the details later. In this slide, I just wanted to show you quickly, very quickly, the Jewish year and different holidays and special days, etc., etc. There are biblical holidays. You have it over there, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, etc. You know how to read. You don't need me, and your English is probably better than mine. And you have rabbinical commandments, Hanukkah, etc. We're going to learn this. You have days for fasting. I just made up the word moments. I don't know. Days for fasting, special days. We're going to learn each one of them briefly and try to understand whether it makes sense for a Bnei Noach or Bas Noach to do them. Let's go. First of all, we have to understand what the Jewish holiday is. What does that mean? A special day. Okay, it is brought down. It's in the Shulchan Aruch, in the Code of Jewish Law. You have it over there in the source, that the special days in the Jewish year, specifically the holidays, are days of connection, where the special bond between God and the Jewish people is revealed. Now, clearly, it's not talking about non-Jews. It's the special bond from within Jews, between Jews and God. So the truth is, it makes no sense at all for a non-Jew to fulfill a Jewish holiday, to keep a Jewish holiday. As we're going to learn, why not? But just to take a simple example, in Rosh Hashanah, we're going to learn about Rosh Hashanah specifically more. But in Rosh Hashanah, one of the things that Jews do is to blow shofar. It's a horn, whatever. It doesn't make any sense, not at all, for a non-Jew to blow it. But I want to do it, it's so nice. Okay, look, you want to blow horns? You want to blow trumpet, and do it. Be happy. But you should know that, first of all, it doesn't represent a bond with God. No. And whatever it's written in our holy books that is actually accomplished through blowing the shofar, a non-Jew blowing the shofar is not accomplishing that. Why am I saying this? I don't know about the English world, so to speak. I'm just starting to get into it. But in the Spanish world, there are so many rabbis, and I say, quote, quote, rabbis, teaching Kabbalah in YouTube, and there's suddenly great Mekubalim in YouTube. And believe me, the true Mekubalim, the true Kabbalah rabbis, etc., don't make videos on YouTube. No. They probably don't even have a smartphone. No. I don't think so. They live in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, out of whatever. They probably don't talk any other language rather than Yiddish or Hebrew, whatever. Forget it. They don't do videos. If you find a rabbi making great things in Kabbalah, doubt. You should doubt. But whatever. What I'm trying to say is, if you learn from books, from rabbis, doesn't matter. I don't care where from. The special energies that really become from the world and they come into, etc. When you blow the shofar, that's for Jews. I know it may sound hard, but that's the truth. I'm sorry. That's only for Jews. And I actually put the source where it comes from. And that source, it's the Alter Rebbe, is the founder of the Chabad movement. He was a huge Mekubal, and he was a Chosid, and was a Rebbe, etc., etc. And he says clearly, like the exact words, a non-Jew putting on tzitzis or tefillin does not do anything. I'm sorry. No spiritual, I'm not talking about reward, no spiritual effect. It's very important to understand the difference. Reward might be in the world to come, or in this world, as we discussed actually about Dama and Netina, etc., etc. That means, let's say spiritual. Okay, fine. That means you actually earned, quote unquote, dollars in the world to come. Okay, you have a new coin in the world to come. Fine, that's okay. And maybe if you blow shofar, you actually have that. Certainly, because the Talmud says so, if you honor your parents, you're going to have richness in this world. That's what the Talmud says about Dama and Netina. Nobody can argue. But let's say in the world to come, you're going to have more, quote unquote, money. Which money in the world to come means to perceive God, or whatever. Doesn't matter. But let's say that. That's fine. However, it's a completely different thing, the projections of divinity, of energies, etc., in the world through the fulfillment of commandments. That's only for Jews. That's only for Jews. So you blow the shofar, you earn the coin in the world to come, but don't think you actually accomplished all the things that the rabbis say about the shofar. No, I'm sorry, you didn't. Why not? Because you're not Jewish. That's it. So that's the difference between reward and actually accomplishment in the world. Forget it. And you also don't internalize within yourself all those energies, etc., etc. No, I'm sorry. The Talmud brings a story over there in the end of this slide that God gave the non-Jews. It's a sad story. You can read it yourself. You don't need me. It's in English also. You have the source over there. But God gave the non-Jews one mitzvah. And the Talmud says a mitzvah kala, an easy mitzvah, an easy commandment. Sit in a sukkah for 7 days, whatever. And they couldn't do it. Again, go read the Talmud. It's okay, no problem. You can read the 3, 4, I don't remember exactly, pages of Avodah Zarah. It's fine. You can read it. And it's a sad story. But the point is that we see clearly from that story that today, like right now, that story, I'm sorry, I didn't say. The story happens when God brings Mashiach, and there's a day of judgment, like in the world to come. I'm sorry, I didn't say this detail. So that we see clearly from that story, in the world to come, God is going to test the non-Jews with the mitzvah of Sukkah. But today, no. So it doesn't make any sense for a non-Jew to sit in a Sukkah and think that he's actually absorbing the name in a mystical sense. It's called Makifim de Bina, whatever that means. Whatever, forget it. You're not absorbing it. I'm sorry. That's the truth, whether we like it or not. So let's be clear. It's not the same to celebrate the moment in the Jewish way than to be aware of a moment and recognize it. It's two different things, completely different things. What's to celebrate in the Jewish way? Blow the shofar and sit in the sukkah and take the lulav and esrog and whatever in the sukkah is. No. That's commandments for Jews. Now, you want to learn from the teachings of every single Yom Tov, of every single special day. That's great. That's fantastic, and you should. Like, for instance, Sukkah, very simple thing, means everybody sitting in a hut, and everybody happy together. Oh, that's nice. That's unification within the people, and that's nice. Yes, sure, you should be one with all your neighbors. Yes, even the neighbor you wanted to kill, yeah, you should sit in the sukkah, in the same sukkah, and be happy with him. That's fine. But don't think you're fulfilling a commandment. No. And don't think you're actually accomplishing something by sitting there, besides the idea of learning from the teachings. I brought the example of Rosh Hashanah. In Rosh Hashanah, Jews, we blow the shofar, this horn, etc., etc. That's a Jewish commandment. That's it. Non-Jews should blow the shofar. You like blowing horns? Okay, I don't know. You have a good time with that. Go do it. But forget it. It's a commandment for Jews. Now, Rosh Hashanah, at the same time, it's a day of judgment. Okay, so understand and recognize what the day is. It's a serious day, and you should take the day seriously. I mean, you should do serious things like Tehillim, Psalms, and you should recite Psalms, and you should understand, accept God as a king. Okay, we have a teaching. God is going to be my king for the next year. I'm going to be more careful. That's fine. That's okay for non-Jews. And it's not a commandment of Jews. It's the understanding of what the day is about. Rosh Hashanah is about recognizing, day of judgment and accepting God, etc., as a king. Very nice. Now, within all of the things I explained, Rosh Hashanah in itself, it's a very interesting Yom Tov holiday, and has a strong relationship with non-Jews. But that strong relationship with non-Jews does not mean non-Jews should pray differently or should do anything differently rather than saying Tehillim, Psalms, which is a very important thing, or recognizing again and learning that we should accept God as a king, etc., etc. But don't do anything like, what do I mean? I want to be clear with this, because I see many rabbis offer non-Jews to do, for instance, Kiddush. Kiddush means sanctification of the day. Take a cup of wine and make certain blessings and do and say certain things and say certain things and eat certain foods, etc., etc. I'm sorry. that's not the way a non-Jew should, at least to my humble opinion, should live Rosh Hashanah. I don't think so. No. There's no connection to that, because that's the Jewish way of celebrating, and if a non-Jew does it, you're making a new religion. Where does it say that a non-Jew should do that? I don't think so. Okay, so that's the Jewish way of celebrating. But understanding that Rosh Hashanah has a meaning and a teaching for non-Jews, that's in the Talmud. That's not a rabbinical whatever. No, it's in the Talmud. And the Talmud says over there, I wrote it for you. In Rosh Hashanah, this is a quote, word by word, of the Mishnah, of the Talmud. In Rosh Hashanah, all human beings, I underlined it because we're talking about this, all human beings pass in front of him, of God, as sheep, one after the other. As it's written, he who forms together their hearts, who understands all their actions. So God is checking, so to speak, every single human being in Rosh Hashanah. And that applies to non-Jews also. If the Mishnah would have meant only Jews, it wouldn't have used such a clear expression, all human beings. That means all human beings. It's the day of creation of human beings. That's Rosh Hashanah, the sixth day of creation. So does it have any meaning for human beings? Yeah, hello. We came into the world, yes, Jews and non-Jews. And it's a day of judgment over the actions of men I mean every single human being, on the past year. That's Rosh Hashanah. But again, does it mean that I should behave like a Jew behaves in Rosh Hashanah? No. It means I should incorporate the ideas that the rabbis say about Rosh Hashanah? Yes, sure. Am I obligated to that? No, you're not. You're not obligated on anything. You don't want to say psalms in Rosh Hashanah? Don't say. It's okay. You're not doing anything wrong at all. You want to say one psalm and play PlayStation? Yeah, go do it. No problem. It's fine. No problem at all. Let's move on. Other holidays. I'll do this like fast because I assumed it's something known. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, etc., celebrates divine forgiveness for the golden calf. The ones that did that were the Jews. And the ones forgiven for that were the Jews. So I don't see any connection to non-Jews. Sukkot. We make huts and we sit in the huts and etc. Celebrates that God surrounded with clouds of glory the Jewish people when they went out of Mitzrayim, of Egypt, and the whole trip in the desert, etc., etc. Now, were the non-Jews traveling with the Jews? No. Does it have any connection to non-Jews? The truth is no. Now, parenthesis, second paragraph over there in Sukkot, there is some connection to non-Jews. There is. What's the connection? The Torah says, this is in Pashas Pinchas, in the fourth book of Torah. Pashas Pinchas brings all the offerings that we used to offer, sacrifices, whatever, in the temple, in the different days of the year. It's special ones. In the regular days, it says also, but it's simple. Now, in Sukkot, 8 days, we used to offer, throughout the 8 days, 70 bulls. That means not every single day 70, no. Throughout the days, I don't remember the numbers right now, 13, 12, 11, etc. Throughout the 8 days, 70 bulls. And those represent, and this is in the Talmud, so it's clear and no argument about this, this represents the 70 nations. To the point that those offerings were for the well-being of the 70 nations. The Jewish people were offering in the temple sacrifices to God for the rest of the human race, so to speak, human beings. Now, the Talmud says, interestingly, that if the non-Jews would have known the benefit that the temple brought to them, not only they wouldn't have destroyed it, they would have guarded it, so to speak. But whatever, they didn't know, so they destroyed it. But so we see there is a connection between Sukkot and the 70 nations. But the point, this is my humble opinion, others actually hold differently. My humble opinion is, okay, the connection is there. That doesn't mean that you have to do anything about it. Like pray differently, say different prayers, or behave differently, or that the whole holiday of Sukkot applies to you, to a non-Jew? No. It just means there is a connection, that's fine. The Jews prayed for us. Okay, let's pray for the Jews, whatever. But there's no religious observance that a person should add because of this. Not at all. Shmini Atzeret, the end, so to speak. The last two are the end of Sukkot. Shmini Atzeret and Simchas Torah. Shmini Atzeret celebrates, this is also in the Talmud, private relationship between the God and the Jewish people. To the point that throughout Sukkot, we offered 70 bulls. In Shmini Atzeret, we offered only one. Why? Because again, that bull represents the connection between God and the Jewish people. So what's a non-Jew doing in Shmini Atzeret? I don't know. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense. Simchas Torah, basically the same idea, celebrates the giving of the second tablets in Yom Kippur that God gave after forgiving the Jewish people. And the tablets were given for the Jewish people. And it's the end and the beginning of the annual reading of the Torah. It has no connection to non-Jews. All the holidays. Number 2, Pesach. Pesach is the Jewish people going out of Egypt. No connection to non-Jews. It's true, some non-Jews went out of Egypt also. And they say the number, I don't remember the number now, I'm not good with numbers, the number of non-Jews coming out of Egypt was even greater, many, many times, of the number of Jews. But they converted. In the giving of Torah, everybody converted. So they cannot be considered like non-Jews, and therefore there's a connection between Pesach and non-Jews. No, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. Shavuot celebrates the receiving of Torah at Mount Sinai for Jews. Torah was given for Jews. It's true. There is a connection also with non-Jews. And the Rambam brings that connection. And the Rebbe in many, many teachings brings the connection also. Because non-Jews should actually fulfill the 7 commandments because they were given by God to Moshe in Mount Sinai. Oh, so we have a connection. What does it mean? That you have to do something special in Shavuot? Hello, Jews don't do anything special in Shavuot either. There's no commandments. Nothing to do. Just go to the synagogue, pray. Some people eat milk foods in Shavuot. It's okay. It doesn't make any sense. You want to eat cheese? You can eat cheese any day you want. It's okay. You want to eat cheese in Shavuot? Go eat cheese in Shavuot also. It's not a religious thing. Hanukkah and Purim, both in different times of the history, so to speak, they represent the victory of the Jewish people over the Greeks in Hanukkah, the Persians in Purim. So again, we killed so many non-Jews, very good. We saved our lives and we really gave them. What are you celebrating? I don't understand. That the Jews were victorious over it. Okay, but it doesn't really, like, a person that understands what the holiday is about, what are you celebrating? Moments of the year, fast. There are many fasts in the Jewish calendar, most of them, except for Yom Kippur, most of them are rabbinical decrees. And the Halakha says, the law says, that the non-Jews should not do the rabbinical things. And the Rambam says this very clearly. So all the fasts are rabbinical. There's no need for a non-Jew to fast. Now, on the other side of the coin, so to speak, we see in the story of Yoina, I don't know the name in English, Yoina, Jonas, Jonah, I don't know. Okay, Yoina. It's a small book, only 4 chapters. Very interesting book. In the story of Yoina was a prophet, and he was sent to prophesy to Nineveh, the city of Nineveh. And the city of Nineveh was full of non-Jews. There was not even one Jew in the whole city of Nineveh. At least that I know of, whatever. So he was a Jewish prophet sent to prophesy for non-Jews. The book is very interesting. You can read it. It's famous. But the point is that the point that I want to bring out is that the text says that they fasted. They did tshuva, they repented, together with fasting. So is it forbidden to non-Jews to fast? No, I can't say that. It's wrong. It goes against the scriptures. So I'm not going to say that. Is it a mitzvah? Is it a commandment for non-Jews to fast? For instance, in the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, this day, one of the fasts. There are 4 rabbinical fasts. The most important one is Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. Is it a mitzvah, commandment for non-Jews to fast in those days, in that day? No. Can he fast? Yeah, you can fast any day you want. But the main thing is to incorporate ideas of that we destroy the temple, etc. But do you have to really do anything about it? I don't think so. And the special days, even Jews don't do anything about the special days, like Tu B'Shvat. The 15th of Shvat is the new year for trees. Okay, we learn about trees, and that a non-Jew can do also. The day comes and you learn the man is like a tree. The Torah says, the person is like a tree. Okay, we have rules. Okay, you can learn about this, but again, it's the teachings that are important actually. Conclusion. So let's read together. The observance of Jewish commandments is not the most appropriate for Bnei Noach. I was careful with the language, so to speak, even though my English is not my first language. It's not the most appropriate. I'm not going to say it's forbidden. No. Is it a commandment? No, definitely. No. I'm going to say that. No. But it's not the most appropriate. Definitely. No. And if you have doubts whether you should do it, okay, make a call to your rabbi and ask your rabbi. But not like a general thing. I don't think any rabbi should actually say like openly, yes, let's everybody go do this. No, I don't think so. To a specific person to say a specific teaching because you know the person, and okay, you could say. And if you don't want to say, so don't say. But in a general way, no way, no. Even when observed, they have to be observed according to the Jewish laws. That means if you're going to do it because your rabbi told you to do it, okay, so ask your rabbi how to do it and do it properly. Don't do just whatever comes up in your mind. I think I'm going to build a hut with air conditioning and I'm going to put it into my hut. No. You want to do it because your rabbi told you to do it? You ask and he said yes? Ask him, what's a Jewish hut for Sukkot? Ask. It is certainly not the first step. Many Bnei Noach, this is something that, even though the Rebbe spoke about this so many times, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, it's something that now it's starting to like really grow. And people, of course, some people know a lot, and some people don't. And it's okay. We'll start learning. When you go to university, you start from the first year and you start learning, and then you're going to be a great physician, whatever. But at some point you start it. Okay, when you start, definitely is not the point of start, the starting point to fulfill any other commandment. Rather, what you have to do in the 7 commandments, ramifications, etc. It's not the way of living the relationship with God, since he didn't command that this is the way to relate to him. He didn't tell you to do that, so why should you do that? It is arguable whether there is reward or it makes sense. If you ask Moshe Feinstein, is there reward if a non-Jew sits in a sukkah, even if he knows that he's not commanded to do so? Rabbi Moshe Feinstein is going to say no. And tell you more, in some circles of Jewish observance, etc., they're not even going to allow you to sit in the sukkah with them. Why should you be inside my sukkah? Like, get out. You're not Jewish. What are you doing in my sukkah? I don't want you in my sukkah. Many people would do that. And it's understandable. So, I don't know. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein is going to tell you no reward. If you ask the Rebbe, probably, I'm not the Rebbe, but probably would say there is reward. I don't know exactly what the reward is. There is reward as long as you know you're not commanded to do so. Does it make sense for Rabbi Moshe Feinstein? Of course, no. Doesn't make any sense at all. If you ask the Rebbe, okay, sense that no, it doesn't make sense. He wants to do it. You ask the Radbaz. He wants to do it because he knows he's not commanded to do so, etc. Okay, no, go do it. But not necessarily is the Jewish observance. No, sir. It is forbidden to invent, to make up observances. Of course, they are not mandatory. Don't say that lifting up a pencil 3 times a day, that's not a mitzvah. Forget it. No. Or lighting 7 candles. I'm going to light 7 candles for Shabbos. Before Shabbos or after Shabbos, it's Saturday night, I'm going to light 7 candles because Jews light 2 candles Friday night, Friday afternoon, actually before night. I'm going to light 7 candles Saturday night. So it's not like Jewish thing, but it's lighting candles. I love lighting candles. I'm sorry, you're making up a new religion. It's not brought anywhere. What do you mean, 7 candles for what? No, because 7 commandments. What are you talking about? Show me the book, the Jewish book of a real rabbi that says that anyone should light 7 candles. There's no such a thing. So you're making up something new. And besides, it's not Saturday night. It's Friday afternoon before it dawned, before night. So what are you doing? This is a new religion. Even when considered optional, okay, I said this about new invented religions, make it up. Now, a very important thing that people don't know, but I don't know, a rabbi should know, it's forbidden for Jews. I mean, for Jews, of course, for non-Jews, it's forbidden to make up new blessings. The blessings that we have in the Siddur, in the prayer book, the Jewish prayer book, are very specific blessings. There are some discussions whether of a few words, like the word is this one or that one. There are discussions, but the blessings themselves, nobody argues which blessings the person should say. Nobody argues nothing. There's only one blessing that people argue because it was made up, so to speak. Maybe it's not the nicest word, but that's the truth. After closing the Talmud, our sages, I'm not going to make a whole class on Jewish history. It's not the moment now, not the right time. But there's a period of time called of Geonim. Geonim go roughly from year 500 after Common Era, roughly to 1000, more or less. They were not allowed to add anything to the Talmud. They explained the Talmud, but they added one blessing. One blessing. The blessing is Anoisen Layof Koech. They saw, I'll translate in a second. They saw that people were really weak, so they said we should add one more blessing that God gives to the tired people, strength. Okay, nice. There's an argument in the later authorities whether we should actually say this blessing or not, because it's not in the Talmud. They made it up. Yeah, but they were Geonim, they were really genius of Torah authorities. Yeah, but it's not in the Talmud. Yeah, no. Okay, some people don't say it. Some people don't say it, and some people say it. As far as I know, most of the people say it. I say it. It's in the Siddur, in the prayer book, etc. But there is such a thing of rabbis, real authorities, like 500 years ago, arguing maybe we should not say it. So, of course, just making up suppose I sit and write a Siddur for Bnei Noach, a prayer book for Bnei Noach. So let's say, okay, I'm not going to say a blessing that God did not make me a Jew, because actually He made me a Jew. For Jews, there's a blessing that God did not make me a non-Jew. So how can a non-Jew say that blessing? Doesn't make any sense. So let's change the blessing. God made me as He wants. Hello? You're making a new religion and you're making up blessings. Who are you? Our sages did not want to make blessings. And you freely and happily make new blessings? Why? And it's important to understand the difference between a blessing and a prayer. It's not the same. Prayer, you can say anything you want. God Almighty, please send me a new Ferrari because I want to go in the streets of Buenos Aires with a new Ferrari, please. You're so mighty and so good and so powerful. Give me a new Ferrari, please. You can say this and anything you want. No problem. And you can use God's name and it's fine. But a blessing is with the whole text of the blessing. Blessed are you, Lord God, says that you cannot make up. No. That's forbidden. And the same thing applies to the structure of the prayers, Kiddush, Avdallah. If you actually see in the Talmud where Avdallah is discussed, the Avdallah means the celebration when the Shabbos ends or when a holiday ends, we make a blessing, etc. on wine, and one of the blessings is Avdallah. And the blessing of Avdallah says that God separated between Jews and non-Jews. So what's a non-Jew doing with this? Are you happy? I wouldn't be happy. I don't know. To me, humbly, doesn't make any sense. So this is the ideas that I thought would be easier to understand from our own sources to try to know whether it's okay, it's proper, it's the way to go, etc., for non-Jews to fulfill the commandments of the Jewish people. At the end of it, maybe the super summary is ask your rabbi. But when your rabbi answers, it's okay to say, Rabbi, which opinion does this follow? Which opinion are you following? Could you please tell me, which rabbi do you follow? And if he says, this rabbi, that rabbi, okay, You're allowed to change rabbis. That's okay. It's not a problem. You're not allowed to rabbi shopping. Rabbi shopping means I'm just going to find a rabbi that says whatever I want to hear. That's not right. That's not the correct attitude. But definitely you can say, okay, Rabbi, I'm sorry. I'm not going to ask you anymore because I don't know. I don't like your answers. And you never answer nothing. Okay, so I'm going to find another rabbi. But the point is, find a rabbi and ask him. And he's going to answer you. And when he answers, say, okay, which opinion are you following?